Destructiion means a tool to demolish yourself. A tool to destroy your intentions, your visions, your dreams, so that you become not a tiny little creature, so that you become a nameless little creature in this cosmos, but you become the very hand of the Divine. Devotion is not a deal that you make. Too much deal-making is happening in the name of devotion. Whether people go to a temple, church or mosque, they are busy making deals. Deal makers and devotees are two different people. One belongs to the marketplace, another belongs to the Divine. They're two different worlds altogether. You need to understand this. The moment you sit down to make a deal, it is the dharma of a deal that you should do your best to be smarter than the other. No? You don't want to make a dumb deal, do you want to? When you sit down to make a deal, you want to be smarter than the other. If you take this attitude with the Divine, you have lost before you start. You sit with the existence like this, you sit with your guru like this, you lost even before you started. You don't have to run the race, you anyway lost. You cannot win. Because the very fundamental purpose has been defeated. And now what? So don't lose out on the tremendous power of devotion because you have a stupid deal in your head. What can you ask? What kind of deal can you make with the creation and the Creator? Only a dumb deal, because you do not know what possibility the cosmos holds. You only know the little nonsense that you have experienced in your life. If you are in touch with an energy, at least you're in the presence of an energy which is the source of creation, and you ask, I want to get a job, I want to get married, how stupid can you get? You don't know what it holds. Isn't it best, do whatever you want with me? If you found contact, isn't it best to leave it to the source of creation, do whatever you want with me? No, get me a job, I want increment, I want promotion. Oh my God, don't do that to yourself. If at any time you find yourself in the presence of something which seems to be larger than you in some context, that's the time you don't try to make a deal, just shut up and be. Just see how you can receive. So that's devotion, that you understand becoming the hand of the divine is a far bigger possibility than making a deal, however big the deal seems to be in your head. Deals and deals always going on, everywhere. With life and death, deals are going on. From deals to devotion is a transformation. It is like if I give you filth, will you give me something fragrant and wonderful? No. If I give you filth, you will want to give me more filth. But please see how the creation functions. If you give this tree filth, it'll give you flowers, isn't it? This is the way of the divine. If you really become a devotee, you become the hand of the divine, and that's how it will be. Whatever is thrown at you is nourishing. Whatever comes your way is wonderful for you, because whatever comes, you know how to transform it into something beautiful. That's devotion. Deal means you want to get the flowers, you want to give the filth to somebody else. If you do that deal, after that, you will get excluded, isn't it? You will get excluded from any group of people, or ultimately you will get excluded from the way the creation is happening. When we say yoga, we are talking about a union. A union means that you don't exist here as a creature by yourself. You exist here as part of the divine. You exist here as part of the creation and the creator, that you become one with everything. That you are not one little crawly creature who goes around doing its own thing. But the whole idea, the juvenile idea of freedom is you want to do your own thing, isn't it? So this you need to understand. A wrong idea, a wrong emotion can cause much more pain and much more destruction than a bullet or a bomb, or poison for that matter. A wrong idea, a wrong attitude, a wrong emotion can cause much, much more damage than poison. So this is why asatoma sadgamaya, asatoma… Sadhguru, already I said it. No, you must tell it every moment of your life. Every moment of your life, this is the journey, that you're moving from untruth to truth. Otherwise, what is not true can be made to look true in your mind. Once you make untruth into truth in your mind, then that untruth will poison the very way you exist. Then you wonder why suffering is coming in search of you. Well, it's bound to. How else will it? If it doesn't come, that means my life has failed. Suffering must come if you're doing the wrong things, isn't it? Someone very carefully went up the tree. Another fool tried to run up and fell down. If nothing happens to him, the one who has the skill to climb up is a fool, isn't it? Yes or no? No? It is so, isn't it? One who has paid attention, one who has taken care to acquire the necessary skill to do something in a proper way, if him and a fool who has not paid any attention to anything happens the same way, then the man who paid attention to all these things is a fool, isn't it? So, I'm not really against suffering. It's my wish that you should not suffer. But if you're stupid and you want to do idiotic things to yourself, you must suffer, because only if suffering comes you will stop doing stupid things. Suppose, do you see, suppose you have a wound which is drying up, you want to… Huh? Pandringdani? Pandringdani? Huh? If it goes deep enough, when it hurts, you stop. Suppose it did not hurt, you would pull out your intestines. Yes? Do not underestimate yourself. If there was really no pain in your body, as you sit in the satsang, you know, like how you blow chewing gum, you blow your lungs out to show me how big a lungs you got. Yes, you would do. Do not underestimate yourself. Do not underestimate your own stupidity. If somebody is doing something else to make your impression, you'll take your intestines and… Because if you as much as touch it with a pin, it hurts so badly. Wherever you do not know the pain, you do not know the pain of a tree, you do not know the pain of an animal, you do not know the pain of other things, all those things you're chopping, isn't it? Only this one you know, so you're preserving. So, it is fine, you're doing good. At least you know this much. It just has to expand, that's all. Now, because you know the pain of what this is, you're keeping this well. If you just begin to feel the pain of the mountain, you would keep the mountain well. If you understand the pain of the cosmos, you would keep everything well, isn't it? That is what yoga means, union, that everything has become a part of you. And devotion is that dimension which will obliterate the boundaries between what is you and what is not you very effortlessly. Otherwise, emotion is a tool with which people constantly draw boundaries. What is mine and what is yours is determined by what kind of emotion you hold for this person and what kind of emotion you hold for this person, isn't it? Who is your family, who is not? Family is a tyranny, you know. It's very nice people around you, but it is just that emotionally you have drawn a boundary, isn't it? With this boundary, instead of becoming conscious, you become constipated. When you become constipated, it means you're just full of shit. That's what it means. Instead of being full of Shiva, full of shit. That's what has happened, because you're constipated. If your consciousness was wide open, then you wouldn't be using your mind and emotion to draw boundaries, you would be using it to unite everything. See, your emotion is a way of making somebody who is here, who is not a part of you right now, a part of yourself, isn't it so? Is it a tool for unity or is it a tool for division? It is a tool for uniting, but right now you're using it as a tool to divide. So devotion means getting your emotion to that level of maturity where everything unites. If this doesn't happen, it would be better if you had no emotion and you went around like a stick. Yes? If you're using your emotion to divide the existence, not to unite it, better without emotions. At least if you're not emotional, if you're not passionate, you wouldn't act against anything, isn't it? Right now, emotion has become a destructive process. Aur koncha emotional aitanga, anayna. that means something nasty happened. No, emotion is a beautiful thing. Because devotion is an emotion, it's the most beautiful emotion you can have. Bliss is there, ecstasy is an emotion. If the necessary emotion is not there, the chemistry in you will never become ecstatic. The chemistry, the detonation, you know what's an explosive? Yes, you must know because bombs are so much a part of our life today. You must know what's an explosive. There are two aspects to an explosive. There are different kinds of explosives. I'll not go into the details because I don't want you to learn bomb making. There is an explosive material, but by itself it cannot go off, it needs a detonator. A detonator either can be lit like your Deepavali thing, you light it and it goes boom, or it could be electrically charged with a battery or something else. But it needs a detonator is something which sparks. Without that inside spark, this explosive material is no use, simply it sits there like mud. But with that little spark, it will go boom. So, emotion or devotion is that spark which can fire human chemistry and human energy to a certain level where it's an explosive, where it's an explosion of ecstasy within you. If this spark is not given, everything is there but it sits like a pack of earth. Unfortunately, most human beings are sitting around, they are just like a lump of soil because nobody has set fire to them yet. So devotion is that dimension which can bring that fire in you. Where the very dimension of who you are can be dramatically altered within moments. Anything else you have to work at it. This is not like that. If it gets on, it will change you, it will transform you in a few moments. Nothing quicker than devotion. There is no path which is quicker than devotion. It delivers you right there. What is a temple? Let's understand this. Generally when we utter the word temple, immediately people are thinking of which religion? No. If temple belongs to you or me or to a particular group, you cannot call it a temple. Temple is an invitation to the divine. If we can set up a space and the necessary tools where divine is more manifest, not that it is not there everywhere, it's just that more experienceable. There's sound waves everywhere, but you cannot hear it. You need a cell phone to catch the transmission, otherwise you can't catch it. So we can say a temple is a larger cell phone. You can't talk, just to listen, one-way cell phone, is that okay? I always set up the temple in such a way that you can't yap. Is that okay? Or you want to talk? If you want to listen to a dimension beyond, if you want to be receptive to that possibility, we can create a space like that. We can create a device or a tool like that. When I use the word tool, there seems to be a certain sense of lack of reverence in me. But I particularly use the word tool When I refer to the Dhyana Linga as a tool, people feel offended. Sadhguru, don't say that. In our experience, it's everything. Don't call it a tool. I say it's a tool. Because the word tool means that which works. It is not a piece of art that you can just appreciate. It's a tool because it works. There's just one screw in the door, if I ask you to unscrew it with your hands, can you do it? But if I give you a screwdriver, you can do that, isn't it? Similarly, to open the doors for the beyond, there is a tool. With your own hands, if you try to unscrew that simple screw in the door, all your 10 nails will go, but still it'll not come. Yes? You can try with your teeth. You know, people do. When they have no tools, they'll try their hands, if it doesn't work, don't you do? You may lose your teeth, still it may not come. But if you had a simple tool, how easily you could do it. So this is a tool to open the doors of the beyond. And I don't think a tool is irreverential, nor do I think a tool is insulting. A tool is a tremendous possibility, isn't it? The significant development in human societies happened only when we started making tools, isn't it? No? Why is it offensive if I say a temple is a tool? A temple is a tool. There are different ways of using different tools. For this tool, you have to be in a certain mode. Because this is not a physical tool, you have to approach it in a certain way. So that certain way may also include a certain level of reverence, because that attitude is needed to be able to use the tool. So it's very important that it is understood and used as a tool, not as a destination, but just as a possibility. A temple is not a destination. A temple is only a doorway. A doorway is not a destination. A doorway is just a doorway, opens up something. So what does it take to build a temple? Of course we need some stone and many other material, but what does it take within a human being to build a temple? Why I'm telling you all this is I'm trying to discourage you. A temple will not happen unless at least a band of people, at least a handful of people, hold it above their own life, not as a part of their life, not as a side thing that they do in their life. Temple building is not a hobby or a profession. You have to see it as something beyond your life, more important than your life. You must understand, at least in the East, in India, temples were built so elaborately, some of the temples took 3 to 4 generations to complete. For example, the Kailash temple in Ajanta, Ellora, in the Ajanta area in Maharashtra. There are many in Tamil Nadu. This temple was carved out of the rock. They did not build it. A huge mountain of a rock, they carved the temple into it. 3 floors, all carved out. They must have removed hundreds of tons of stone, probably thousands of tons of stone, because all the empty space that you see in the temple has been carved out. And they made 3 stories, elaborate, decorations, and there are at least about 600 statues, all carved out. If you make one mistake, you have to rebuild the whole temple. Yes, because it's not built, it's not something you can take it off and put something. It is carved into the rock. It took 135 years, at least 4 generations of people working to the same plan. Three to 4 generations of people working to the same plan for 135 years to complete the temple. And nowhere their names are written. Such phenomenal work. Many of them must have started working at 14, 15 years of age and they would have died there, okay, doing the work. But nobody's name is written. Architect's name is not written. The kings who sponsored the temple, their names are not written. That's a temple, understand? It's not a place for us to leave a footprint of who we are. A very beautiful story. There was an old man. There was a man. Men get old. Slowly. He had 2 sons. Father and 2 sons worked hard, built a big farm, they became prosperous. Then for the old man, time to die came. When he was going away, he told his 2 sons, whatever comes out of this land, both of you should share equally, and you must always keep it up. At no point there should be any dispute between the 2 of you. They agreed in front of their father and they kept to it. I'm saying, not dividing the land. Dividing the land has come only in the last 4 to 5 generations in India, maybe 3 to 4 generations. Before that, there was no such thing as, this is my land, this is your land. Only the produce was divided, never the land. So conceptually, it was not there in people's minds that you can actually divide the land. So he said, you must divide the produce equally. And they stuck to it. After some time, one of the brothers got married. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 children he had. The other one never got married. So he was alone. But still the crop was shared 50-50. Because those are the father's words, you can't change it, that's his wish. So the brother who was married and had 5 children, one day a worm entered into his mind. You know, sometimes worms get into your mind. A worm entered his mind, and then a thought arose, and he thought, I have a wife and 5 children, I get 50%. My brother is alone by himself and he gets 50%. When I grow old, my sons will grow up, 5 of them. They will tame more land, we will become more prosperous and we will have much more. But my brother is alone. When he gets old, he will have only 50% of what we have now. This is not fair. But he is so proud. If I try to give him little more, he will not take it. If I try to share my produce from the new lands that my sons have broken, he will not take it. Only from the father's land, he will take 50%. So what to do? So in the night, when everybody is asleep, he carries a bag of grain and takes it and puts it into his brother's store. So that unknowingly, he's donating to his brother. The other brother, who was alone, thought, my brother has a wife and 5 children, he needs more. I'm just alone, what will I do with all this? But if I try to offer anything, he will not take. So he started carrying grains and dropping it into his brother's store. Reverse osmosis was happening. And nobody knew. In the night, quietly, once in a way, this brother puts one bag, that brother puts another bag. This went on. They became old. One day, two old men were carrying sacks of grain in the night, and they came and they faced each other. Both of them realized what's been happening. But they looked away and continued their journey, put the sacks and went back. Then they died after some time. The townsfolk were wanting to build a temple. They were looking for a site, they went to many places. After much looking, they decided to build a temple where these two brothers met on that night. They looked at each other and suddenly they were so embarrassed of their own generosity, they looked the other way and continued their job. They thought this is the best place to build a temple. Because that's what a temple means, that looking beyond yourself. If that is not there, there is no temple. And this sense of no human being should live in an unconsecrated space is something which is deep-rooted in this culture, because it is just like if you plant something into this earth, only if the roots are sticking into a rich earth will the flower and the fruit come out. If the earth into which these roots are sticking in is not rich enough, is not enhanced enough to sustain life, flower and fruit will not come. Even if it comes, it will be too meager. It will never be a full-blown flowering, it will never be a full-blown fruiting of the plant. So always these aspects, we gave enormous importance to these aspects of life. It's not just about what you eat, it's not just about what kind of work you do, what kind of space you live in. This is very important in the East. So, people always consecrated their homes in whichever way they know best, and only then moved in. If the kings were sensible and benevolent, they consecrated the whole town. They created any number of places in the town so that the whole town is consecrated. He wants everybody to live in consecrated spaces. If you walk on the street, if you do business, if you live in that town, everyone must constantly live in consecrated space, because if you want to produce generations of enhanced human beings, you need this kind of space. Otherwise, only by accident or by personal dint, somebody may become something. You won't produce a generation of beautiful people. This culture produced a galaxy of knowledge, a galaxy of enlightened beings. Every generation produced this simply because they took care of any number of aspects like this. Nowhere else on this planet have single generations of people risen to such glorious heights of knowing as this culture has known. But all that got fractured in the last few hundred years. In the last 800 to 900 years, this got badly fractured because of invasions and displacement of people and so many things. You can produce very great intellects, very great energy as human beings, I'm saying, individual human beings carrying phenomenal sense of energy and intellect and capability. If you create large spaces of consecrated space, large consecrated spaces where the whole generation of people are in touch with that kind of energy and space. This fortune almost every family had, because before they moved into homes, they did this. Periodically, they did something to enhance the house. This is part of almost